Today we're gonna make homemade Baileys. As you can see here, I'll show you the ingredients involved later. So this is like Irish coffee creamer, Carolyn's, all those sort of things. Why would you even want to make it? Fraction of the cost. Have you ever looked at the ingredients on Baileys? It's weird, guys. It's weird. The weirdest ingredient we're gonna use is sweetened condensed milk, which you can make yourself, or it just has sugar and milk. Or I do have a version on my blog that uses maple syrup if you want to be refined sugar-free. So you got options. I am just using a can of sweetened condensed milk because YOLO, it's Christmas. Let's discuss the cast of characters. We've got whiskey. I'm using 40 Creek, which isn't Irish whiskey, but Mary's bought it by accident and it's way better. I got a lovely cream line that I'm gonna skim some cream off of this milk here. We've got instant coffee in this jar. I buy it from Organic Matters. It's delicious. He was making my camera go funny. Now, we got cocoa. This is actually raw cacao. I'm being technical. And then a can of sweetened condensed milk. First, we dump in the sweetened condensed milk because we're actually going to use the can as our measuring can. And this confuses people on the recipe because they're like, what is a can of whiskey? It's sold in bottles here. Is a can of whiskey a Canadian thing? No. Read the recipe notes, friend. We use the empty can as our measuring scoop. So we do a can worth of whiskey. Traditionally this is Jameson's, but Marius was just confused when I asked for whiskey. He didn't realize I was making Baileys and 40 Creek is our whiskey of choice for drinking. Turns out it's amazing in Baileys as well. Now you can use heavy cream or like a half and half, 10% light cream, coffee cream. How creamy do you want your coffee or do you want your drink, and base what you use on that. I use straight off the top of a jar of milk cream. This is not quite heavy cream because I'm not being really particular about how I skim it, but it's thicker than coffee cream. Either way, it's delicious and I have no regrets about it. I grabbed a tablespoon and we are using a tablespoon of this cocoa or raw cacao. It feels kind of pretentious when I call it cacao, but guys, it tastes so much better than cocoa. And when we buy it in bulk, it doesn't cost any more. I think it costs less than buying cocoa from the store. Then the instant coffee. This is optional, but it really adds a great flavor boost to it. You can also add vanilla if you want. You could change the flavor. You could add like some dulce de leche to make it like a caramel Baileys. Why have I never done this before? I need to make caramel Baileys now. Be sure to blend it on low speed. This is sped up so it looks faster than it is. Otherwise you could unintentionally make Baileys butter, which really isn't what we want. This perfectly fills a quart jar, so of course we grab our handy dandy quart jar, fill her up so we can tuck it in the fridge. Now that that's done, This is delicious, you know, like Christmas morning coffee. It's so good on ice. Marius likes to drink it in milk after dinner for a nightcap. The other thing that I recently saw was on Cheese from Scratch Instagram, where she makes this 30-second eggnog that uses Bailey's, so we're gonna try that right now. This is a recipe where you need to be very confident in your sources because we're starting with a raw egg. Rowan has already pre-cracked this for me, and oh, she's licking that nutmeg grater. I didn't see that when I was filming this. Oh, wow. Oof, that just, imagining that feeling on my tongue gives me the wingwams. So we add some milk, just whole raw milk. Then we add an ounce. I am measuring it just to kind of give a rough idea that I'm actually following the recipe. An ounce of Bailey's. I went a little shy on that because there was still a bit in the blender. Then it calls for a 1/4 ounce of whiskey, and I honestly didn't even do the math on that. I just added a capful and figured that that was probably sufficient. Then I added some fresh nutmeg, which is far superior to anything pre-ground. I highly suggest grating your own nutmeg. It's just a whole different spice when it's like this. Now, don't do what I just did here. Oh yeah, see? Blend it. Her method calls for just shaking in a jar, but since my blender was already dirty, I figured I would just give it a nice blend and then it will be nice and frothy as well. Normally I would not be drinking whiskey midday, but the lighting is not good enough in our house later in the day to do any recipe videos. So we're making this at lunchtime, and I shared it with Marius because I did not need to drink this solely on my own. I thought I saw a little bit of egg yolk, so I wanted to just give it a little scrape, quick more little blend before we pour that frothy goodness into our cups. Here we go. Oh, that's delicious.
Can I get Frankie?
No, I'm sorry, Freya. It's got whiskey in it.